Let's talk about comparing proportional relationships. Make sure that you've watched the proportional relationships lesson and the unit rates one before you get to this. We want to be able to compare different quantities like prices when they're represented in different ways. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to have store 1 that's offering a certain product for $2 per pound. And we have store 2 that's offering that same product for $3.50 per pound. What we want to know is which one is the better buy. So better buy, think about what that means for just a second. Better buy means that I am spending less of my money to get more product. So I want to find out which one costs less. $2 per pound is less than $3.50 per pound. So in this case, store 1 is the better buy because it costs less. But what if it's not quite as easy to see? Right here we don't have two unit rates to be able to find our difference. So store 1, $2.25 per pound. That's easy and obvious to see. Store 2, I'm going to take and find my unit rate. Remember, your unit rate is where x is equal to 1. 1 pound is going to give me $2 or cost me $2. So the unit rate here would be $2 per pound. $2 per pound versus $2.25 per pound. Which is the better buy? In this case, store 2 is because it costs less. A few things to remember with unit rates. If I have to find the unit rate from a pair of numbers like $6 for 2 pounds, remember that can easily be done by division. 6 divided by 2 gives me $3 per pound as a unit rate. From an equation, this is something that we haven't done a whole lot of, but from an equation, we would be looking for this number in front of the x. That 4 right there is hugely important to me because that means my unit rate is $4 per pound. Over the next few lessons, we'll find out why that's our unit rate. But for now, look for the number in front of the x. And then from a graph, we've been practicing with that. If I need to find my unit rate from a graph, I need to find where x is equal to 1. But look what happens. It doesn't tell me exactly how much money per pound. We know it's somewhere between 1 and 2, and sometimes that's enough. But in this case, not. So let's go over, it is, but we're still going to find the unit rate. So I'm going to go over to where I can find a point that's on the grid. So I could choose this point, or I could choose this point. Over here, this point tells me that for 2 pounds, it cost me $3. So $3 for 2 pounds. If I do that division, 3 divided by 2, that's going to give me a unit rate of $1.50 per pound. So out of these 3 options, the better buy would obviously be the $1.50 per pound. But the point is here to be able to find unit rates from all 3 situations. Just a little FYI, here are all the different unit rates as a graph, right? All the different scenarios. You can see the green one is much more steep. That means it's going to cost me more. The kind of bluish one in the middle is going to cost me less than the green, but more than the black, right? And the black line is not as steep, so that's going to be my best buy. We want to be really careful when we answer questions about unit rates because not all the questions are going to be asking the same thing. Before we were talking about better buy, now we're asking which train is traveling faster. Look at our units. We're talking miles and minutes. 7 miles in 5 minutes. If I'm looking for something that's traveling faster, is it going to have the greater speed or the lesser speed? Yeah, if it's asking me faster, I want to look for the one with a bigger speed, greater unit rate. So on train 1, 7 miles in 5 minutes, I'm going to do the division. 7 divided by 5 is 1.4. That gives me 1.4 miles per minute. Train 2, I'm going to look where x is equal to 1. We know that the miles is going to be somewhere between 1 and 2, but we don't know exactly. So let's find a point that's on the grid. Right here we have 5 miles in 3 minutes. That's a great point to help us find a unit rate. 5 miles in 3 minutes, if I do the division, gives me 1.6 repeating. I'm going to round that to 1.7 miles per minute. So when it's asking us which train is traveling faster, again, I'm looking for the one with a greater speed. That means train 2 is going faster than train 1. Make sure to write down any questions you might have so you can remember to ask them in class. Our assignment to go along with this lesson is Comparing Proportional Relationships worksheet. Have a good evening. I'll see you tomorrow.